Hi everyone, it's Liam here from Rating the Races. So I have decided to do a Cheltenham Festival each way Lucky15. And it's a bit of a strange one because normally you'd find horses that you like for the bet and they would be shared around between different trainers. Now I'm going to take a bit of a risk. All of mine are going to be from one trainer, and you can guess who that is by looking at my screen right now, because that's who we're going to talk about the first one in a second. They're all going to be from one trainer. Now, I know that's a risk because, for example, Dan had a good year last year, and he had 2 winners. So why could he win 4? Well, I actually think he could. I think he could win 4 or 5 of the handicaps if their horses put their best foot forward. I've got a feeling that Dan has really worked back from the Cheltenham Festival with more than just the one horse. So we're all looking at Langadan, or everyone's looking at Langadan because they think he's got him well handicapped back to the Cheltenham Festival and he's going to run a big race. Correct, I believe he is. I think he's got a few others that are going to go very, very close as well. And we'll go through those, and I've actually got 7 that I'm interested in. But I'm only going to pick out the 4 strongest, and I'm going to tell you about the other 3 as well, as just a side note. But these are my main 4. So we'll start off with the obvious one, which is Langadan. Now Langadan has dropped back down to a rating of 141, which is the same mark as when winning the Coral Cup last year. Obviously he'd won at Aintree off 137. He went to Cheltenham a couple of years ago off 135. Ran Galopin des Champs really close, 2 1/4 lengths. You know, that's really good form. Off just a £6 high mark, you would instantly say he's going to go close on the Galopin des Champs form. You would say he's going to go close on his form of winning last year. You can forget his racing this year. You know, they've clearly been targeting this race again, haven't they? So he is the obvious one. And he will be our first one into our 4. Langadan, who's currently available at between 7 and 8 to 1. The second horse that I'm going to add to this is Le Milos. Now, Le Milos, I'm pretty confident will be running in the Pertemps final. He does have entries over in the Ultima. He's got an entry in the Plate. He's also got an entry in the Grand National. But at Cheltenham, I think he'll be running in the Pertemps final. Now, why do I think that? Well, first of all, they were very clever and they got him qualified early on in the season, back in November, at Market Raisin, in a 5-runner race, so he only had to beat 1 home. He did beat 1 home, he actually beat 2 home that day. He finished 3rd of 5. Jet of Matic pulled up for Nigel Twiston-Davis, which meant the front 4 all qualified if they were high enough rated. Now, I don't believe Le Milos was fully wound up. I don't think he was trying. I think it was perfect placement in the fact that it was a very easy qualification for him. And that came off a mark of 146. He then went to Ascot for a decent handicap just a few days ago. 9 days ago, I think it was now. Went off 66 to 1 because it was over 2 mile 3. He was never in that race to run a big race. And he didn't. He disappointed. He finished 13th of 16, well beaten, off a mark of 146. The handicap has dropped him to 142. Well, off 142, he's actually won... he won the Jumpers to Follow handicap chase last season over Fences, beating Lord Dominil, and that was the race that then put him in contention for the, what did they call it last year? The Coral Gold Cup? The Coral Gold Cup, which he actually won off 146. So, hurdles to chase mark, he would run off the same mark in the Pertemps final as he did when winning the first of his 2 runs last season, and a £4 lower mark than when winning the Coral Gold Cup. I don't think his hurdling is an issue. I think he actually hurdles quite nicely. He's won races before over hurdles. When he was with Tim Vaughan, Tim never really tried him over the right distances over hurdles. He was always running over like 2.5, 2 mile 3, 2 mile 5. But up to this 3 mile trip, which he clearly wants, I think they've really laid him out for this race, going Pertemps final and then returning for the Grand National for a very light campaign. He'll have had the 4 runs if he runs in the Grand National. A qualifier where he didn't have to do anything to qualify. He just top 4 and he finished 16 lengths behind Itchy Feet, but that was fine. And then he ran over 2 miles 3, a trip far too short for him. And yeah, I think they've laid him out for this race, and he looks very interesting for me in the Pertemps final. And he's one of these that's, he's a bigger price than what he should be. Where is he? Wow, where is he? Here he is, down here at 25s, 33s. Let's put him in. If I'm right and they've laid him out for this race, I mean, his form is very good. It's that £4 lower than when winning a Coral Trophy, Coral Gold Cup, whatever the race is called, I'm sorry. That's proper good form. He beat Correct Rambler that day. If Correct Rambler was, say, in the Pertemps final, if Correct Rambler had qualified for a Pertemps final off a £4 lower mark than when even finishing 4th in the Coral Gold Cup, he would be, people would be like, wow, they've laid him out perfectly for that. I'm really confident of a huge run from Lamilos in the Pertemps final. We move on to the next one, the third one in our list, which will be Lo de Sud, who recently finished second in the Betfair Hurdle, having previously run in a Greatwood Hurdle, and before that he'd run in a more Battle Hurdle. Now, for me, why were they running in those races? They believe they've got a really good horse. They believe they've got a horse who's well ahead of his mark, because they thought they could win a more Battle Hurdle, turn up to Cheltenham under a penalty and win, and claim that bonus. That didn't happen, but then they ran him in a Greatwood, thinking they could win that. What was that? 56 grand to the winner. They thought they could win that. It didn't happen. But he came back with ulcers that day. Last time out, much better run. Back to form, or back to the form that they were expecting. 6 lengths clear of third. Okay, he was beaten by Iberica Lord. If they reoppose, Iberica Lord will be a couple of pound worse off. Lo de Sud went up 6 to 135 from 129. Iberica Lord went up from 134 to 143, so £9. So he'd be £3 better off, Lo de Sud, with Iberica Lord, which I think gives him a great chance anyway. And maybe Iberica Lord was just given a better ride, just held up, picked off those at a better time, whereas Lo de Sud kind of made his effort potentially slightly too early. If he'd been back with Iberica Lord and been coming through with Iberica Lord, maybe he would have held him off. But even on the back that he didn't, I think it will work out. Both of those are going to go close in subsequent races. And I think at Cheltenham, I think Lo de Sud is a good price, considering, Iberica Lord is half the price of Lo de Sud. I think there'll be nothing between them at the finish. And with that in mind, Lo de Sud is my third selection in the each way Lucky15. The final one, and to be honest, I actually think this will be the best one of the 4. I really like Languedan, I really like Lamilos, I really like Lo de Sud. This one will be, if I had to pick in order, this would be my strongest in the 4. And that is Nurse Susan in the Martin Pipe. So Nurse Susan is currently rated 135 over hurdles, and I really like her. I think she's very classy anyway. I think she's up there, not far off Stayer's Hurdle, Mare's Hurdle level, and our ratings kind of suggest that. Our early ratings, I will give a little bit away. RTR3 and RTR4 in those subsequent races, the graded races. She will be running here in the handicap. On her best form, you could say it was either the second behind Love Envoy at Lingfield, beaten by 2.5 lengths. Love Envoy is now rated 149, £14. If there was £14, if Nurse Susan got £14 from Love Envoy on that day at Lingfield, Nurse Susan would have won that. Similarly, came to Cheltenham, ran a good race in the Dawn Run. I actually think she was a little bit unlucky as well. Beaten by Love Envoy again, a horse with no name, and Grangie. Grangie came out, I think went to Punchestown, was it? Just scrolling back to have a little look. Where is it? Went to Punchestown Ferry House, for a grade 1 after that. Love Envoy, as I said, was getting, Nurse Susan was getting £5, beaten 4 lengths, would be getting £15 if it was a handicap now. That's crazy. That That's really good form. And then the last couple of runs, has won at Cheltenham on the new course, beating Martha Divine. Good Luck Charm back in third. Good Luck Charm has since run quite nicely as well. And then last time out, beat Ramo. There was nothing wrong with that form. They were well clear of the rest. Again, possibly got there slightly too soon. Nurse Susan, I think dropping back in trip to 2 mile 5 for the Martin Pipe, I think will be absolutely perfect. And I think is very, very well handicapped. 2 mile 4 for the Martin Pipe, sorry. I think Nurse Susan is very, very well handicapped. And I'm surprised she's not near the top of the market here. I think we're looking at the Irish. We're looking at the No Ordinary Joe, who looked like was given a very, very soft ride last time out. And he was. But I think there's so much more to come from, where is she? Nurse Susan. And you can currently get, let's have a look at the odds. So, who the hell at BetMGM? Let's go to a proper bookmaker. Would we say Unibet? Just about, maybe. Let's have a look at the odds. So, Langadan is available at 7 to 1. Lamilos at 20s. Lo de Sud at 14s. Nurse Susan at 25s. Bizarrely, my strongest one, I think, there, of those 4, is the biggest price one of the lot. Nurse Susan. I really, really like her. I think she's going to go straight to the festival. She's not going to have a run in the meantime. You might see Lo de Sud in maybe the more battle. You might see, I think that'll be it. The other two go straight to the festival as well, but Lo de Sud could go to the more battle first. I'm really confident of big runs there from all 4 of them, and I'd be disappointed if any of those, finish worse than, say, 5th or 6th. I really think all of those are going to go very, very close in their races. So they are my 4 that I'm selecting of the Dan Skelton runners. I do actually think there's a few others that are going to go well, including Calico in the Grand Annual. Back on the old course, he's had a run there recently, or not recently, he ran in November. He got beat by Triple Trade that day. He went too early. He got caught late on by Triple Trade, who was finishing fastest of all. Triple Trade's done alright since, has come out and won again, winning at Ascot, beating Harper's Brook, who has since won. Had also finished 3rd at Ascot behind Boot Hill, and who was else? Fred Darm. I think that's great form for Triple Trade, and kind of suggests to me that Calico is nicely handicapped. Last time out, he got beat, again, giving away weight to Gabriel's Getaway, giving away loads of weight to the winner. Again, I think he went too early. He was pestered for the lead by Funambule Savola. And if you look at those where they subsequently finished, Calico managed to hang on for 2nd. Funambule Savola dropped away and disappointed back to 6th. The only run you could possibly say was disappointing was on the new course, when finishing 4th behind Madara, In Excelsis Dio and Funambule Savola. Again, though, In Excelsis Dio should have won next time at Sandown. Madara did win next time over in Ireland, and Funambule Savola has been given a couple of poor rides, in my opinion. That's really strong form, and it would not surprise me to see Calico run a big race at 16s in the Grand Annual. The next horse also has a chance for sure. Chan Bleu, coming back to himself, ran a good race at Ascot over 3 mile. When I think he was just given too much of a positive ride, Harry kept nudging him. If he's slightly more conservative and holds him up, if he sits him in the middle of the pack, I think he'll go very, very close in the Ultima. The only reason he didn't make my selections was probably because his Cheltenham form doesn't look as strong as Langadan certainly had the form. Nurse Susan's won at Cheltenham. And Lamilos at Newbury. If there'd been a bit of Cheltenham form for Chan Bleu, he probably would have made my selections. I think he's nicely handicapped. It'd be interesting to see what they do with him. I think they'll hold him up a little bit more compared to his run at Ascot. But I think he'll go close. And he's a bigger price than he should be as well. Where is Chan Bleu? Chan Bleu is down here at 20s, 25s. The next one in the Boodles, Cartoon and Co. I think this will be Dan Skelton's number 1. And interestingly, the horse looks like he's been given a clever campaign again. won a junior novice hurdle or junior hurdle, beating Billy the Real Big Red quite comfortably on debut. Fine. They then kept it quiet and they've kept him hidden away, I think. He then got beat last time out by Gimme 5. Or, sorry, not last time out. 2 runs ago by Gimme 5. Well, Gimme 5 ran Calaf de Burle close in the Adonis recently. That's clearly good form. And then last time out, he was beaten by Cabral du Matin and Latin Verse. Well, Cabral du Matin, I think, could have run in the Adonis as well. That they were looking at both of those as who was going to be their best. Latin Verse has since come out and won by 19 lengths as well. That's very good form. Yeah, I think there's plenty to like about Cartoon and Co. And I think he's been given a very clever campaign to hide him away from the handicapper, really. And he's a decent price, I think. Where is he? Cartoon and Co. Yeah, 20s, 25s, even 28s in places. Big price. And finally, this one I'm not totally sure whether he is going to end up at the Cheltenham Festival, just because of what Dan Skelton said recently. And that horse is one I've been actually talking about all season. Pembroke. He wants 2.5 mile. He wants a handicap. He didn't get a handicap last time. He went to the Pendle Novices Chase. He finished 3rd. He was well beaten by Blow Your Wad and Tamuras. But get him into a handicap off his current handicap mark. I actually think he's going to drop in the handicap as well. So I was disappointed when he ran at Lingfield because he went up £3 for finishing 3rd in the Grade 2. It's very possible that the handicapper might go, I overreacted there. I'm going to drop him back to £3 after his latest run at Kempton. When he turns up, if he turns up at Cheltenham in a handicap, I think he'll go close. Got to remember, he went off 9-2 favourite last year for the County Hurdle. Over a trip that I don't think suits. He wants the 2.5 mile trip. And if he gets there and goes to the plate over 2.5 mile, I think he will run a big race. And you can see that people don't really know what to make of him. He's between 12s and 25s for this race. I would have him nearer the 12s because I think he will run a big race in the plate if he goes there. But the main 4 that I want to talk about here are Lankadan for the Coral Cup, Le Milos for the Pertemps Final, L'Eau de Sud for the County Hurdle, and Nurse Susan for the Martin Pipe. You can currently get it 65,519 to 1 with Unibet. If you don't have a Unibet and you say that Coral are a big enough company, they are still going 59,000. You'd still be happy with that, wouldn't you? As an each way, Lucky 15.